Hello everyone, this is Shannon from That's So Po, and today I'm doing a review of the poetry collection Sana Sana by Ariana Brown. This is an awesome poetry collection that I actually heard about from Priscilla at Bookie, who did a review of this and another poetry collection. I'm going to link that below, and I strongly recommend that you check it out since her review is what convinced me to pick up this book, and I'm so glad that I did. Ariana Brown is a Black Latinx queer poet, and her poetry just really spoke to me. So I want to talk to you about what spoke to me so much in her poetry. First of all, I think one of the things that I'm looking for in poetry that this collection did so well is emotion. I'm always looking in poetry for an emotional connection to the author. It's something that I think poetry is just so good for, evoking those emotions and getting you to empathize with where the author is coming from through the beauty of the language. And I think that this poetry collection just is so strong in emotion. One of the key emotions that a lot of these poems have is anger, and I like that. I really like angry women. I think that when something is unjust, when something is wrong, it is good to have anger, to be frustrated, to be passionate about those injustices. And I think that Ariana Brown has a lot to be angry about, because as a Black Latinx queer woman, there's a lot in the world that is not just for her. And I love the way that she channels that into her poetry. I also think that equally strong as the anger in this poetry collection is self-love. So just as she rejects the way that other people treat her unfairly, she also celebrates the way that she loves herself, the way that she accepts herself, the way that she has grown to love those things about her that maybe other people don't appreciate. And I really enjoy that celebration of self, that way that she has of showing how much she values herself. It's beautiful to see that. Another thing that I really look for in my poetry is an exploration of identity, which I think this collection does really well. I think that poetry is not only connecting me to an author's emotions, but also their experiences living as themselves in the world where I don't have those experiences. And I really like the way that Ariana Brown explores her identity in relation to heritage and context and the way that she moves through life. She does this especially talking about her Blackness via talking about her hair. There are a bunch of poems in this that really explore the way that her Blackness comes out in her hair and the way that she has to navigate the world and expectations through the way that she handles her hair. And I really like that this also connects a lot to emotions and a lot to anger because of the way that Black girls are often treated. I'm going to read you an excerpt from one of her poems where I think this is really visible. So in the poem, "We never did this to be beautiful. I don't know what the world expects of little Black girls, but we never did this to be beautiful, though we did become so in the process." I love how that shows that anger at the way that the world treats Black girls, but also that self-love, that acceptance of self and rejection of the rejection of others. Similarly, she explores her Latinx heritage in a lot of these poems. With her Latinx heritage, a lot of that is connected through language, through Spanish, as well as through understanding the history of colonization and how Spanish is a colonizer's language. There's a lot of complexities there, and I really like how she explores that in so many of her poems. For example, in "Dear White Girls in My Spanish Class," it says, "I see you stumbling so hard you laugh through entire sentences because my ancestors are a punchline." And I love, again, that anger at the way that people treat her culture, but also that celebration, that desire to connect to her own culture. Also in the poem "Curanderismo," it says, "If you are alive, you are descended from a people who refused to die. Nothing is more sacred than you." And I love the way that she celebrates the survival and the heritage of all of her ancestors in these poems. There's so much in this poetry collection that really is a rejection of the way that her cultures, her people have been treated, and a celebration of the validity and the value of them. I think that all of these poems just have so much emotion in them. They have so much value in terms of talking about her experiences, talking about her identity. I think that they are very, very, very strong. If you are interested in this collection, I strongly recommend that you check out some of her live performances of her poetry. I will link one below, which is the one that Priscilla had linked, and I think it's a very, very strong one. If you listen to that, you'll get such an idea of the rhythm and the emotion that she puts into her poetry. I think it's absolutely wonderful, and it really helped me to listen to that before I read the collection, because then I could hear her speaking and in my head imagine that as I was reading the poems. So I really loved this collection. I think that it does so many things that I'm looking for in a poetry collection. It really moved me. I loved the content. I just thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed reading this. If you guys have read this poetry collection, or if you know of any other poets who have similar works, definitely let me know. I'd also recommend checking out Peluda by Melissa Lozada-Oliva, which I've also done a review for, so I will link that below, which I think is a very similar feel of identity poetry. So I'd love to hear from you guys. Go ahead, leave me a comment about anything you like below.